Hello friends, welcome to another exciting video of TechnoGeek SFDC where we are going to talk about one of the very important component which has came as a GA in spring 24, that is lightning record picker. So if you are an LWC developer, you definitely must have created a lookup component in your work experience till now at least once, right? That's where you have to create a Apex class, and then you have to create a lightning web component and then do the configurations and other stuffs to get the data and show it in the lookup, and again you create a drop down and all that. So by seeing that you can say feature and the usability of that feature, Salesforce has decided to give you a out of the box LWC tag itself, that is lightning record picker. Okay, so let's start with how the lightning record picker looks like first. Okay, so I have already created one lightning record picker for you to have an experience and to save your time as well. So this is how your lightning record picker looks like. Okay, that is where you can have a title, and then you can have a search box, and then let's say if I give an, it will show me the list with having an into it in the name of the contact. Okay, this is how we used to create a custom lookup as well earlier in LWC, but this is now a completely standard tag which has been provided by Salesforce. Okay, so now let's dig dive into the uh, let's dig dive into the configuration of this component, how we can configure this. Okay, so to do a basic configuration, let's say if you have to just show a drop down with, let's say, some label, that is, let's select a contact, a placeholder, and then so you can give an object API name. So as I was telling, there is a new tag, lightning record picker. So you can select a lightning record picker and you can give a label, any placeholder if you want to give, and then object name, object API name in which you want to do the search. So let's say in my case, I wanted to do a search on contacts, so I gave contact. If you want to do a search on account, you can give account. If you want to do a search on, let's say, any other XYZ cases, opportunities, anything, you can give that object API name here. So this is a very basic setup of lightning record picker, and this is how it will look like. That is, whenever you will type anything, it will by default it search on the name. Okay, so by default it will search on the name and it will return you the result. Okay, let's say if I'm giving a, then it will give me a lot of data, like whatever records I have with a. Okay, but usually when we build these types of component, we also look into specific data, because right now when I'm typing something, it will give me a very big list, right? But let's say if I have to further filter down that list. Okay, so for example, that let's say if I have to bring the contacts which are part of those accounts whose name are starting with United. Okay, so that is something called filter condition. In lightning record picker, you can also provide a filter condition as well. So how we can give that? Okay, so for providing a filter information, what you need to do, you need to just create a variable called filter. Okay, so filter is nothing but it is an object in JavaScript terms. It's an object which is having two attributes. Okay, one is criteria and one is your filter logic. Okay, so criteria is basically an array of the your filter conditions, whatever you want to give. So in our case, let's say we gave account dot name and then operator. So field path will be your field API name, then you have to provide an operator, and then you have to provide a value. Okay, so field path again, here I am giving like account dot name. So till one level it can go up. Okay, in the record picker, like from contact you can go to account, so that one level of hierarchy it can travel. And then I am using operator like, and then value is United followed by a wildcard character. Okay, so this is my one of the criteria. Similarly, I have put one other criteria, that is the department. NE means not equals. Okay, EQ is equal. So basically, your lightning record picker, whatever the processing it is done in backend, it is working on the GraphQL adapters. Okay, so it is using the GraphQL to get the data and show it on the UI. So these tags or these formats are basically GraphQL formats. Okay, like NE, EQ, These are GraphQL formats. So here in operator I have given any, that is not equals, so that is department NE and then value as finance. So if department is not equal to finance and account name is starting with United, okay, so this is where have defined two criterias here. Now I have a feasibility that I can define a filter logic as well and I can leave it as is. Okay. So if I'm not giving any filter logic, then it will by default run in an AND condition. It will take all the criteria, it will run in AND condition. Okay. But let's say if I have certain specific filter like one, one or two or something like this, one or two and three. So these types of filter logics as well you can define. Okay. So I'll just give one and two. Okay. So this is how you will define the filter in your JS. But how to apply on the UI? So to apply on the UI, what you need to do, you have to use another attribute of the tag, that is filter, and then you can just provide the filter name, the variable name which is containing the filters. Okay, and then I will quickly deploy this. Okay, it got deployed. Now I will first show you the contacts. Okay, so based on that you will be able to find out that which contact will come up, which will not come up as per the criteria what I have given. Okay, so let's say if I take Ashley, okay, and I'll take or I'll take Liz. Okay, so okay, now let's this come up and then I'll show you. Okay, so now if you can see, for this contact department is finance, even though the account is United Oil. Okay, but department is finance. Okay, similarly for Liz, you can say department is something else but not finance. Okay, so department is production but not finance. Now as per our criteria, the filter which we have applied there, basically the account name should start with United and department should not be equal to finance. So this means that the Ashley James, it should not come in my search. Okay, so let's say I'll just do a hard refresh. Okay, and then I'll just give a name as A. So as you can see, it is providing me all the contacts who is having A in the name. Okay, and having the account starting with United, but department is not equal to finance. So as you can see, Ashley is not coming here. Okay, Ashley will not come. Similarly, if I type Liz, so Liz will come because it is matching both the criterias, that is the department is not equal to your finance, as well as the account is starting with, account name is starting with United. Okay, so this is how you can apply the filter logic here. Okay, this means you can apply the filter logic. Okay, now many time what happens is whatever name we are seeing, it is not giving me a proper information that whether it's a correct contact or correct record which I should use it, right? So in that case, this lightning record picker is again giving you another feasibility that you can add additional information. Okay, so for example, as you can see, I'm seeing here Stella, Lauren, Tom, list. So all these are only names are showing up. But let's say if I want another or one more information into it, then in that case, I use the display information, display info attribute. Okay. So display info attribute is again, it's a JavaScript object with an attribute called additional fields into it. Okay. Since this is again, it's an array, but you can only provide one string here. Okay. So you can add, so in lightning record picker, you can say because it's an initial phase. So along with name, or you can only provide one more additional, uh, you can say additional field for the information. Okay, like in our case, if I want, I'll put the department. Okay, now there is another hack for it. Let's say if you want to show two or three or more information, then in that case, better you can just create a formula field, concatenate it, and use the formula field here. Okay, then you can show more details as well. Okay, so here I will show department. So this will come under display info. Display info means whatever the information I want to show in the drop down. Okay, but how to apply this? So for this again we have an attribute called display info, and then in this I will give the display information. Okay, and let me see if it is correct. Okay, yeah, so this is correct, and then I will just save it. Okay, so now let's see how it's going to behave. So now let's say if I'll give list, now you can see I'm getting another information, that is the department here. Similarly, I can put title or anything here. So I'm getting an additional information, that is production. This is the department of this particular contact. Okay. So this is how you can show additional information by using a display info. Okay. Now, next thing is very important or very interesting feature. Okay. So usually whenever we do a search, by default, it is doing a search on name. Okay. But let's say if I tell you that in Lightning Record Picker, you can even configure that on which field you want to do the search, right? So let's say in our case, instead of doing a search on name, I want to do a search on department and title. Okay, I don't want to do a search on name. Instead, I want to do a search on department, and if the value is not there in department, then I want to do a further search on title. So how to do that? For doing that, we have something called matching info. So matching info is again basically it's a JavaScript object which is having two parts into it. Okay, that is primary field and additional fields. So primary field is the field on which the first search will happen, the main field which will be considered for doing the search. Okay, and secondary, or you can say additional field is basically it's an array. Okay, so it's an array which is containing only one you can say JavaScript object into it at this moment. Okay, so additional field is that field on which your next set of search will happen. So for example, if you're doing a search and department is not returning any value, then you can do a further search on title. Okay, so as you can see here, I have not used any name here. Okay, so if I'm not using any name, my by default search on name will be overridden with a search on department followed by the title. Okay, so how to use it? Again, we have matching info. So once MAT is matching info. Okay, so this is again a attribute provided in Lightning Record Picker here. Okay, now let me quickly deploy this and we will see how this magic happens. Okay, so now let me just refresh this. Okay, now let's say if I try to search a list. Okay, as you can see, it didn't return me any record. Okay, why? Because there is no department, no title which is containing LIZ into its name. Okay, but now if I show you, okay, as you can see, one of the department is having production. Okay, that is TION, and then it is returning me all the fields, which is all the records which is having uh, whose department is having TION into it. Okay, so this is how you can even configure the by default search behavior by using the matching info. Okay, that's where you can use a primary field and you can use an additional field. Okay, you are seeing less record there because we have already applied a filter here. Okay, if you remove the filter, you will see more information as well. Okay, now till now we have seen how you can configure all these things. Okay, but at the end our main target is the selection, right? Whenever we are selecting any record, it the value should be passed to the backend, that is in our JS. Okay, so for doing that we use the on change method. So basically all the standard events are being supported on Lightning Record Picker, that is your on blur, on change, um, on input, and all those things are supported on the lightning record picker. And specifically in on change, you get a record ID basically as a part of event attribute. So we can utilize that. Okay. So what we can use is we can again use here on change equals we have a JavaScript method that is handle change. And in handle change, what I have done, I've done a very small thing, that is I'm just doing an alert stating event.detail.record ID. So this will give me the record ID of the record which I have selected. Okay. So now let me quickly save it and let's see how it works. Okay. So let's say if I'll just give here and if I select list. So if I'm selecting list, okay, or maybe I think, okay, it didn't get refresh properly. So let me just quickly refresh it. One more hard refresh. Handle change. Okay, let me just quickly do one more hard refresh here. Sometimes LWC starts taking the cache, so that's why we have to do a couple of hard refreshes to capture the things. Right? Okay. Now let me see. Or yeah, Liz was not there. So I'll give TIO and I'll select list. So as soon as I selected, you can see in the alert, you can see that I am getting the contact ID. Similarly, whatever record you are selecting, you can get that particular information. Okay, and then you can store it and then you can use it for your further operations wherever you want to use in the JS, or from JS if you want to pass it to Apex, anything further you can do with it. Okay, so this is how your lightning record picker is going to work. I tried to explain how much ever I can. If I missed one or two attributes, maybe you can still find out. There is a complete documentation around it from the Salesforce side. But I hope you like this video. You found this informative, and uh, I hope that it's going to save a lot of your time by creating. I mean, you will not be creating the lookup components until unless it is very much required. Instead, you can start using the lightning record picker. Okay, so with this we will wrap up today's video. I'll try to put this code my in my website as well, so if you want to take a further look, you can have a look there. Okay, so with this we will wrap up today's video. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.